Hello and welcome back. Today we're tackling Leetcode problem 1895, largest magic square. This is a medium-level problem that's really about grids, summation, and optimizing how we check different regions of a matrix. It sounds magical, but it's really just some solid logic. Let's dive in. Here is the problem description. We are given an m by n grid of integers. Our goal is to find the size of the largest magic square inside this grid. The output should be a single number representing the side length, which we'll call k, of that largest square. The constraints tell us the grid dimensions are up to 50 by 50, which is small enough for some iteration, but we still need to be smart about it. Before we rush into code, let's make sure we're on the same page. We have a grid of numbers. We are looking for a square subgrid, meaning it has the same number of rows and columns, where a very specific condition is met. That condition is magic. A square is magic if every single row in that square adds up to the same number, every column adds up to that same number, and both the main diagonal and the anti-diagonal add up to that same number too. We want to find the biggest one possible. Let's walk through an example to see this in action. Look at the grid on the screen. We've highlighted a 3 by 3 section in the middle. Let's verify if it's magic. First, we sum the rows. The first row is 5 plus 1 plus 6, which is 12. The next row sums to 12. The third row also sums to 12. So far, so good. Now the columns. 5, 5, 2 makes 12. 1, 4, 7 makes 12. And 6, 3, 3, 3 makes 12. Perfect. Finally, the diagonals. Top left to bottom right is 5 plus 4 plus 3, which is 12. Top right to bottom left is 6 plus 4 plus 2, which is 12. Since everything matches, this is a valid magic square of size 3. Just a quick heads up. We'll be walking through the solution using Python, but don't worry if that's not your main language. I'll be showing the full code for other popular languages like Java, C++, and JavaScript towards the end of the video. The logic remains exactly the same. So how do we solve this? The most intuitive way is to start looking for the biggest possible square first. The largest a square could possibly be is limited by the shorter side of our grid. If we check that size and find a magic square, we're done. We don't need to check smaller ones. If not, we decrease the size by 1 and try again. The tricky part is verifying the sums quickly. If we sum up every row and column manually every time, it's too slow. This is where prefix sums come in. They let us calculate the sum of any chunk of a row or column instantly. Here is the core concept of the optimization. We will build two helper tables. One called row sum, where we store running totals for each row, and another called call sum for the columns. Once we have these, if we want to know the sum of a specific slice of a row, say from index L to R, we don't have to add them up one by one. We just take the total at R and subtract the total before L. This simple subtraction gives us the answer in constant time. Before we get into the code, let's talk about the real reason people fail at Leetcode. It's not because they can't reverse a linked list. It's because they break their daily streak. I built my daily to-do specifically to solve this. You can set Solve Daily Leetcode as a routine task. This means it reminds you to complete your routine tasks every day. It's a dedicated system to force you to be consistent, which I also use to remind myself to upload these videos every day. If you're watching this channel, you're trying to improve, so this tool makes sure you actually show up to do it. I also want to be 100% transparent about how this app will grow. I am an indie developer, not a big corporation. I will never take away a free feature you already use. Core features like repeating tasks remain free forever. However, as I add new server-heavy features, they will be part of the premium plan to help cover the costs of running the app. Also, the price of premium will go up every time I ship a major new feature, so the best time to get involved is right now, while it's early. Check it out at the link in the description. Okay, we've talked about the big picture and the logic. Now let's see what this looks like as actual code. I'll put the full solution up on the screen first, and don't worry. After that, we'll walk through the most important sections together. Alright, here is the complete Python solution. It might look a bit long, but it breaks down into 3 simple parts: building the row sums, building the column sums, and then the main loop where we check squares. I've tweaked the prefix sum indexing slightly from the editorial to make the boundary checks easier. Using a size of n plus 1 helps avoid index out-of-bounds errors. Let's break it down piece by piece. First, we set up our cheat sheets. We create the row sum table. Notice we make it size n plus 1. This is a common trick. By leaving the first column as 0, calculating the sum of the first few elements becomes the same subtraction logic as any other part of the row. We fill this by just adding the current number to the sum of everything before it. We do the exact same thing for the columns, creating a col sum table of size m+1. Now comes the main engine. We start a loop for the variable edge, going from the largest possible size, which is the minimum of m and n, down to 2. We stop at 2, because if we don't find anything by then, the answer is definitely 1. Inside this loop, we have 2 more loops to pick the top left corner of our square, I and j. We only go as far as m-edge+1 to make sure the square actually fits in the grid. Inside the loop, we check the magic. First we calculate the 2 diagonal sums, d1 and d2. We do this with a simple loop. Since there are only 2 diagonals, we don't need prefix sums here. If the diagonals don't match, we skip this square immediately. If they do match, we assume they set the target sum. Then, we check every row and column. Notice how we calculate our sum? We take the value at j plus edge, and subtract the value at j. This gives us the row sum in constant time. We do the same for columns. If any row or column doesn't match our target d1, we stop and move to the next position. If they all match, we've found our answer, so we return the current edge size immediately. Finally, if we finish all our loops and haven't returned anything, it means there are no magic squares of size 2 or bigger. But a single cell is technically a magic square of size 1, so we simply return 1 at the very end. This handles cases where the grid is tiny, or just has no matching patterns. So what's the damage in terms of performance? The time complexity is basically the number of possible squares times the time to check one square. The number of squares is roughly m times n times the number of possible sizes. Since verification takes time proportional to the edge length, the total complexity ends up being somewhat cubic. Given the constraints of 50 by 50, this is plenty fast. Space complexity is m times n, because we store the 2 prefix sum grids. Alright, that covers the main solution in Python. As promised, for those of you who code in other languages, I'm about to show the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript. I won't be breaking these down step by step, but the logic is identical to what we just discussed. Just pause the video on your language of choice to check it out. Here is the full solution in Java. It uses 2D arrays for the prefix sums. You can pause here to review the implementation details. Next up, here is the C++ version. We're using vectors of vectors for the grid and prefix sums. Again, feel free to pause and check the syntax. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. The logic is consistent across all languages, so hopefully, seeing it here reinforces the concept. So let's wrap it up. We learned that when looking for the largest something, sometimes it's best to start checking from the max possible size and work your way down. We also saw the power of prefix sums. They turned what would have been a very slow check into a fast one. And finally, grid problems are always a good exercise in managing your indices carefully. Also, if you're looking for even more Leetcode problems beyond the daily challenge, I've started a second channel called Leetcode Unlocked. It's where I'll be posting solutions to a ton of other problems, so if you're serious about your interview prep, be sure to check it out. The link is in the description below. Hope this Leetcode solution breakdown made sense. If it helped, give that like button a click, maybe subscribe for more, or drop a comment if you have questions. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you know straight away when I upload a video, because I upload videos daily. If you want to support the channel, a few people have asked how I plan my solutions. I'm a big fan of sketching out the logic and data structures on a tablet before I code. It really helps. I've put affiliate links in the description to the tablet I use and a few other good options. Using those links doesn't cost you anything extra but really helps me out. Or, if you're feeling generous, there's always the Boba Fund. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.